What's up, y'all? It's your man Tone Space. Now, check it. Russia has officially come out with a vaccine for coronavirus, the condition SARS-CoV-2 that causes the condition COVID-19, as they call it, right? And I'm just now, as I decided to do this video, I decided to look, see what the latest and the greatest as far as this information is. And lo and behold, look at this headline. Production of COVID-19 vaccine starts in Russia, but half of the country's medics won't take it. And I'm going to go into some reasons that, may attribute or contribute to why. Matter of fact, one of them is the huge reason that if you've been following this thing, or if you know anything about vaccines and how long it takes for them to come out, you already know that they're coming out with this thing way too quickly. Right now, I'm new to a lot of this type of stuff, to how vaccines are made, when they're made, all this type of stuff. I've been looking into all this, very intensely and detailed ever since, the pandemic has begun, toward like late January and on up. But come to find out, I find out that vaccines, right? Usually the proper time that it takes for a vaccine for something to officially come out is between like anywhere from 5 to 10 years, because they want to test it for what they call it efficacy or something, to test it to make sure it's effective and to make sure it's safe, right? Now, they, as many of you probably know, the US, different countries are working on vaccines and they're going through different trials. They have like phase 1 is this, phase 2 is that, and I believe phase 3 is when they give it to, actual people and do the human trials, right? Now, Russia is just zooming past all of these steps, or many of these steps. But here's an interesting thing. The reality is everyone, the United States included, is going to and is currently working on this thing way quicker, probably 10 times quicker than normally one would for a vaccine. For obvious reasons, because the coronavirus pandemic is just that. It's a pandemic. It can be deadly. It's a serious condition. So, you want to get people vaccinated and turn this thing into a smallpox or a chicken pox type of situation, or a common, dither it down to a common cold or something by vaccinating people. It's understood. However, as many of you already know, even in the United States, they're talking about coming out with vaccines as early as the end of this year. And on the later side, the end of next year. So we're talking about within a year's time coming out with a vaccine, and they've been working on it since, February already. So maybe a year and some change max. Whereas normally it would take 5 to 10 years, right? So on one hand, it's like, wow, yeah, that is kind of crazy that Russia and Vladimir Putin is just coming out with this thing super quick, way quicker than anyone else. And we're going to get into that as well. That part is interesting, but when you really look at the entire big picture, everyone's working super quick, and everyone that comes out with this is basically going to do it way quicker than normally people do. And the reason why it takes 5 years plus 10 years is because it takes time. Once you give it to the humans, to the actual people, to see how they react to it, it's not a thing you just wait a month or two. Oh, he's straight, she's straight, cool, roll it out. No, you want to see if there's going to be any long-term conditions. That's why you track the people after 5 years. How you doing? You good? Got a fever? You straight? You still ain't caught that crap? You good on every other aspect? You don't got weird growth growing out of your private places, anything like that. And then after 10 years, so that's the normal time anyway. But so even a year's time is going to be, cutting it way too short than normal. Do I agree with it? I kind of do understand doing it quick. Do I think Russia is doing it way too quick, meaning they should fall back a little bit? Probably so. Because, granted, all right, everyone's going to come out with their thing way quicker, even if they come out in a year. But at least within a year's time, you have more time to see how the people react to it. Sure, it's not the normal 5 to 10 year period of tracking them and everything, but at least you know what's going to happen or you get a good idea what's going to happen on the short term, if anything, right? Now, here's another thing. Before I even go into the article, I'll go into the article real quick. But what I found interesting, right? And this is an interesting thing. When I heard that Russia was about to come out with a vaccine, jokingly, I thought to myself, they should call it Sputnik. For those that know, Sputnik was the satellite that Russia shot into, air quotes, space before the United States, thus beating them in the space wars in regard to satellites and stuff like that, right? So me knowing that they won the space wars, I said, "Well, shit. What if they name since they're gonna be first with the vaccine? What if they call this thing Sputnik? Guess what the name of their vaccine is? Sputnik V. V for vaccine. Now, to me, that's kind of a bad thing. I'll just say, well, all right, it's sarcastic. It's like, all right, we won the vaccine wars, but it has egoism. It's egotistical. The whole egotistical nature of it. And since this is like a vaccine that is coming out way too quick, you know what I mean? You want to get people to trust you in injecting them with this, that everything will be safe and everything. So maybe it's not the best time to, poke your chest out with the name of it. And Sputnik, we came with it before the US, because that's basically what that's saying. You're basically saying, look, we're putting speed in releasing this thing and beating the rest of the world. We're putting that over the efficacy or your safety or actual trials to wait and see if you croak or if you whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? So for that reason, I think that's a name that will probably elicit a lot of mistrust. Uh, i.e., this article that I'm gonna, I guess, breeze through right now, so we'll get an idea if any of that is covered in here. So to take it from the top, production of COVID-19 vaccine starts in Russia, but half of the country's medics won't take it. So the people that deal with patients won't take it. More than half of medics surveyed in Russia have said they do not trust the COVID-19 vaccine touted by President Vladimir Putin as the country announced that it started its widespread production. Now, Russia's health ministry announced on Saturday that the production of the vaccine developed by the Gamaleya Institute outside of Moscow had begun, with the TASS news agency reporting that 20 countries have asked for the supply of 1 billion doses. Wow. However, it appears that enthusiasm for the vaccine, expressed by Putin, who said the vaccine had been taken by one of his daughters and offers sustainable immunity, is not shared across the Russian medical establishment. Now, another thing that's interesting is, these are the people that are in the game. The medical establishment, people that know about vaccines and how safe they are and how long someone should wait. This isn't just like general mass population. These are like the pros saying, look, we don't trust this thing. All right, I'm trying to get to the rest of the article, and maybe they won't let me get to the rest of it. There is an accompanying video to this, but oh, maybe that's the end of it. Okay, I guess that's the end of the article. So yeah, what they said, about half or more than half of the professionals, the people in the medical field, they not jacking that vaccine. And it's understandable. You're coming out with it way too quick. You're calling the thing Sputnik, so you're boasting, putting your chest out, and you're positioning it like it's coming from a mindset of trying to like beat everyone else with this thing. You know what I mean? Change the name, something. I don't know. Now I believe they have performed some human trials, if I'm not mistaken, Russia that is. However, they've produced it and are coming out with it before the results of those trials are put out. Whereas with the United States, which is a move that I do agree with, what the U.S. has done is there's different virus makers and people testing things out and working on it, and to help speed things up, what the United States has done is has also started producing all of these vaccines that they're testing. However, they're producing it, not necessarily meaning that they're going to release it right away. No, they're still going to do the tests, the human trials and everything. And, so this way, whatever whatever vaccine, ends up winning as being the vaccine, or it might be a multitude of vaccines that they come out with, then they already have it already produced, because from jump they started producing it. You know what I mean? So that's how the U.S. is doing it. I mean, obviously, both sides, everyone's coming out with it too quick. If it takes 5 to 10 years of true, knowledge if something is safe, and we could go into a whole nother story, which I do subscribe to as well, which is the safety of vaccines in general. Babies that get vaccinated, the autism, the horror stories that many of you might have heard about that. Now, that's a controversial topic. However, it's enough to raise suspicion, in my opinion, and it raises suspicion in a lot of people. A lot of people that I encounter or politic with or whatever, they say they not trying to take any coronavirus vaccine. They do not trust it. Saying that the black community and the history with what was it, the Tuskegee experiment? You know what I'm saying? So you have on record foulness that has been done by the United States and medical field, experimenting with different people. So the experimentation goes, they find experiments with LSD, all types of diet, moves, everything. So I mean, I would say the United States isn't the most trusted country, but I don't think the world. I think governing bodies themselves aren't to be trusted just completely and fully. Everything you got to do repetition. So there's that. You know what I mean? So you take that, and then you take a pandemic, something that's just total chaos, and you take it where they're officially telling you, look, we're gonna come out with this vaccine 10 times quicker than we normally would. Normally would wait 5-10 years. We can't wait. We're coming out with it a year. And then you got Russia, who's already rolling the thing out right now, and you wonder why people don't trust it, and they name it Sputnik. So I guess Russia wins. Mother Russia. All right. So that's it. I just wanted to touch on that quick. Peace.